Hello everybody. Let's make sure that our volume is up and let's make sure we're listening because that's how we learn about what we missed. You also need a highlighter and a pencil. Okay, so as usual, the left side are the most missed questions on your test, and we're going to do those and show all our work, and then you're going to do the right side by yourself. Okay, so the position of a ball on a number line is given by this inequality. Which of these represents the possible position of the ball? Well, we just need to solve this inequality. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write this very carefully right here. It gives me room to work. Okay, and if I go too fast, make sure you pause the video so that you're learning all of this and not just writing down what I'm writing. So the first thing we do in solving an inequality is we want to distribute where we can, and there's two places to distribute. So I'm going to distribute here. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 1/2 is 2, because 4 times 1 is 4, and then divide by 2 and you get 2, and that's going to be minus 2. Bring down the minus 3, bring down your inequality symbol. We're going to distribute here. 5 times x is 5x, and 5 times -1 is -5, and then we're going to bring down the plus 4. Second step is to combine like terms on either side of the equation. So on the left side, of the inequality, on the left side we can combine these guys. So I'm going to bring down the 4x. I'm going to combine -2 and -3 to get -5. I'm going to bring down the inequality. I'm going to combine like terms on the right side of the inequality, and these two constants can be combined. So I'm going to bring down the 5x. I'm going to combine a -5 and a +4 to get a -1. Next step, we move the variables to the left. So I need to move 5x to the left side by doing the opposite operation. So I'm going to subtract 5x on both sides. 5x is canceled here. 4 minus 5 is -1, so that's -1x. I'm going to bring down everything else. And don't forget your negative on your 1. Now it's a two-step inequality. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. Bring down -1x. Bring down your inequality symbol. -1 plus 5 is a +4. And I have one last step. I've got to divide both sides by a -1. And this is, when I check the answers, I think this is where everybody went wrong because we forgot about our golden rule. So over here on the left, we're going to write golden rule for inequalities. And we're going to write divide both sides by a negative number, switch the inequality symbol. If you need to pause to listen to this again, I want you to write that right here. So when we divide both sides by a negative number, the inequality symbol switches direction, and I believe that's what we missed when we worked out this problem. Bring down your x, and 4 divided by -1 is -4. So x is greater than -4. All right, let's go ahead and let's draw a turkey at the bottom on the left-hand side for Turkey Day. And you can pause the video and you can do the right-hand side now. Okay, next most missed question. Very wordy up here, describing what this graph is like. Dwayne's company constructs and paints billboards. The billboards vary in size, but are always rectangular and have a length that is twice the width. Dwayne determines the cost of the paint per can and creates a graph showing the price to paint a billboard, given the billboard's length. None of that is really important. You're looking for a key phrase that tells you what you're supposed to do with this problem. And the key phrase is average rate of change. Average rate of change. So if you remember what we discussed in class, rate of change is nothing more than the slope. But when they tell us to take an average, it's because it's not linear everywhere. So we're looking for the x values to use for our slope. And if we read further, it says from x equals 10 feet to 20 feet. So 10 feet is this ordered pair here, and 20 feet is this ordered pair here. And we know for slope, we can do rise over run, and we have to do it at these two particular x values. So I'm going to draw me a right triangle for rise and run. And then I need to notice my scale. My scale goes up by 5. So when I count, I have to count up by 5. So the rise is 5, 10, 15. And then if I look at my run, it goes up by 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So my rise is 15, and that's positive. And when I move to the right, that's positive. So my run is 10. Now I just pop this in my calculator. 15 divided by 10. And I get $1.50. So the answer is B. Okay, so if you will, at the bottom, let's go ahead and draw a heart, because we love the holidays coming up. All right, next most missed problem. The graph of a line on a coordinate plane has a slope of 1/2 and passes through the point 4, -3. Which equation describes the line? So the first thing we need to notice is we are trying to match, first of all, the slope. So I need to find the slope of each one of these equations. And remember, these are in standard form. They're in AX plus BY equals C form. So we know that the slope is the opposite of A over B. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly do this. So A here is 1, B here is 2. So the opposite of A is -1 over B, which is 2. Same thing here. A is 1, careful here, B is -2. The opposite of A is -1 divided by B, which is -2, and this simplifies to a positive 1/2. A here is 1, B here is -2. Opposite of A is 1 over B is -2. This simplifies to 1/2. And last but not least, A is 1, B is -2. Opposite of A over B gives me a slope of 1/2. So I'm trying to match a slope of 1/2. This one is automatically out because that is a slope of -1/2. All of these slopes match. So my next step is, it says it passes through the point 4, -3. So I'm going to plug in 4 for X. -3 for y in each one of these and see which one gives me a true statement. Please make sure you're doing this with me. So let's do B. We've got x minus 2y equals 2. I'm going to plug in 4 for x minus 2 blank. I'm going to plug in -3 for y equals 2. And now I'm going to simplify this side. So this is 4, and a -2 times a -3 is a +6. And 4 plus 6 is 10. Notice the other side is 2. Does 10 equal 2? No, it does not. So B cannot be an answer. If we notice, the left side of all of these are the same, so I'm going to plug in all of them just exactly the same, and the left side is going to come out to be 10. So if you notice, D is going to be the correct answer. So let's look at D. X minus 2y equals 10. We're going to plug in 4 for x minus 2. I'm going to use a parenthesis and plug in -3 for y. That is a +6, so 4 plus 6 is 10, and that means this is a true statement, so D is the correct answer. Another way to do this is you could have, in Desmos, you could have entered each one of these. You could have checked the slope on them, and you could have also saw which ones have the point for -3 on the line. All right. Write the word great, G-R-E-A-T, with an exclamation point right here. All right. Two functions are represented below. We have an equation and we have a graph. And it says which statement is true. So let's just take a look at the statements. If you read all of these, there's a phrase that continues in every single one of them. It's the phrase rate of change. Rate of change. So we have to know what rate of change is. So at the very bottom, we're going to write rate of change equals slope. We are looking for the slope. So I want you to write rate of change equals slope. All right. So for the equation, we're going to find the slope. The slope is, for the equation, it is opposite of A over B. A is -3. B is 4. So the opposite of A would be a +3. B is 4. So the slope is 3/4. So that's the slope of the equation. Now we need to find the slope of the line. And to find the slope of a line, we do rise over run. Doesn't matter which 2 points I pick. I just want to make sure they go through the corner of the graph and corner of the little blocks. That gives us perfect integers. Doesn't matter which 2 you pick. I'm just going to pick these 2. So my rise is 1 and my run is 1. So 1 over 1 equals 1. So for the equation, my slope is 3/4. For the graph, my slope is 1. And now let's look at what our statements say. The equation and the graph have the same rate of change. Well, that's not true, because my equation has a slope of 3/4 and my graph has a slope of 1. So I know that's not true. They are not the same. The equation has a greater rate of change than the graph. Well, the equation has a rate of change of 3/4. The graph has a rate of change of 1. 3/4 is not greater than 1, so that's not true. The graph has a greater rate of change than the equation. All they did was switch up the words. So the graph has a rate of change of 1. The equation has a rate of change of 3/4. So this is the true statement because 1 is greater than 3/4. So C is the correct answer. All right. That is the end of your test remediation. Make sure you're doing the right-hand side just as you would do the left-hand side. And flip over on the very back and write, can't wait for Thanksgiving. Hope you all have a great day.